Hey everyone, Tom here. Well, tomorrow is the real new year. Now, I don't know when you're watching this, but hopefully you're watching it tonight or on the day of this new year. And I wouldn't even call it a new year, I'd call it like a new age, a new beginning, larger than a year, larger than a decade. I mean, this is quite literally a new beginning that astrologically has implications we've never seen in recorded history. I mean, the last time a new moon like this happened, we have to go back before recorded history. And with that being said, I still wake up every day and, I expect the sun to come up like it normally does. The seasons happen like I expect them to. I can still go to the store and buy what I normally buy. I can still get in a car and drive anywhere I want within reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, from a general perspective, since we've had the Saturn Neptune conjunction on the 0 point Aries back in February, we haven't had what a lot of these predictions and channelings and forecasting across these multiple industries and modalities have been pointing at regarding this huge shift, right? Yet, there are various awakened levels of people on the planet, right? There are some people who could care less, some people who don't even know what the heck we're talking about. And then there are the ones who go, I don't like my gas going higher. I don't like why it costs more to eat. My bills are getting more expensive. I hate going to my job. You know, this means something. I know. I'll go vote for someone else. I'll go back to college and I'll get a better job, right? It's that stuck in the rut kind of surviving. And then you've got the people who know something crazy is going on. They can see the writing on the wall. Do they know what to do about it? But there aren't a lot of people paying attention to those people. They might be causing ripples, causing waves of disturbance in their circles, personally, professionally, but they don't really know what to do. They're figuring out what kind of potential power they have to do anything about it, other than keep watching and wondering what they have to do when things really actually get out of control soon. Okay, so for me, I'm found somewhere between Socrates saying, the more you know, the more you come to know, the more you come to know you know nothing. And the old G.I. Joe cartoon for us Gen Xers, always reminding us kids, and knowing is half the battle. I come from an angle of astrology, economics, business, technology, married, divorced, a father, multifaceted professional career, my spiritual path. But actually, all of that started with me going into Boy Scouts. When you're living in the 80s and your whole reality is being formed by what's going on during that decade and the one before it, scouting was different than it is today. A lot has changed since, but what hasn't changed are the philosophies that they teach you, right? There was the Boy Scout oath, the law, the slogan, the motto. Okay. I still remember them all, but the big one was the motto: be prepared. Okay. That was all I was about, being prepared. Okay. Now, the highest rank you can achieve in Boy Scouts, I think it's just now called Scouts, is Eagle Scout. And statistically, it doesn't happen very often. I looked it up last night, and in 1990, only 1.5% of Scouts reached Eagle Scout. In 2000, it got to 3%. By 2010, 5%. Interesting, right? I mean, I've got theories about why that shifted. I mean, I've talked about it. We've had mostly outer planets in watery, tolerable Pisces for the last 23 years. All right, I've talked about that. I reached Eagle Scout at 14. Of the ones who make Eagle Scout, 1 to 2% of all scouts, I was probably one out of 500 who got it before the age of 15. And I'm not telling you this to, inflate my ego. I'm telling you I had a drive at a young age to achieve this rank and what it represented: preparedness, self-reliance, responsibility, trust. Okay. I learned a lot. The point is, I've had this notion since I was a child. I want to be prepared. I want to understand my environment. I want to thrive, not just survive. As I grew up and went out into this world beyond my childhood neighborhoods and that nostalgic era, I began to realize that not everyone around me came from that level of perspective and experience. Okay. Fast forward to today. The videos I've given you over the last several months have all pointed to this. Everything is shifting bigger than we've ever felt in humanity that we've recorded. And it's been building. This year is the crest of the wave. That doesn't mean that next year we're back to normal. Okay. What happens after the biggest wave you've ever seen comes and hits things? Okay. We have to deal with the ripple effects. And it started with this Saturn Neptune at 0 degrees Aries. Since then, things have been moving faster. And yet at the same time, it's almost like the world is holding its breath before something huge. I mean, you can watch it on social media. Everyone's saying something's going to happen. Something's got to give. And the funny thing is, so many big things have been happening, historic things all over the world, almost like every damn day now, it seems. And still the world feels like it's holding its breath. I mean, you're not imagining it. I'm not imagining it. Think of it like this. We're inside a giant multiplayer video game, whether you've played those or not. World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto, pick your flavor. Starting tomorrow night, the entire server is getting a massive software update. Okay. I've been in IT for 26 years. I know what's involved with software updates. I know the heavy lifting that's happening behind the scenes. I know the disruption that it can occur, that can occur, but I also know that all the end users, all the clients who use the software, they've got no fucking clue what a software update is doing in the background. They don't feel it, and they usually don't even get notified or even know it's happened. Most of the time it happens when they're sleeping. All right? The most they'll hear is, hey, you're not going to be able to use our environment from this time to this time while we update. And, people complain. They'll whine. They'll get impatient. Then the update finishes. They log back in and things have changed. Can they notice them? Sometimes you can. Remember when Facebook was just getting going? They'd push an update and the next day people would lose their fucking minds. They'd start petitions, try to get signatures together. Let's go back to the old version of Facebook. Okay, nobody's complaining about Facebook's layout anymore. Okay, you walked into an unfamiliar environment that you wanted to stay familiar, and you said, I don't like this at all, until you did, until you complied. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to explain all of this using words a kid could follow, and I'm going to show you 3 totally different groups of people: ancient astrologers, modern system thinkers, and cutting-edge AI researchers, all pointing to this exact moment right now. Different languages, same threshold, same door, same portal. I'm not telling you this from this is not a throne. I'm not telling you this from some top of the mountain speech. I'm standing in the middle of the ship with you. Okay, I'm a metaphysical advisor and astrologer by calling. I'm taking a day job to keep the lights on. I'm figuring out in real time, just like all of you, how to be the dreamer and the warrior in this time right now. This isn't theory for me. This is real life. This is reality. As a metaphysical advisor, I can tell you the paradox to what I just said. All of this is a dream. All of this is in the Matrix. All of this is the Matrix. Why are we making it such a big deal? I mean, all of this is a framework set up to pull the wool over our eyes, over your eyes. And we will get into that too. I mean, if you follow any geophysicist or astrophysicist, like Stefan Burns, I've mentioned him before, he's a good one. You already know solar activity has been wild since we walked into this calendar year. Earthquakes are going off, volcanoes are going off, patterns to all of it. It's getting more interesting by the week. Have you noticed all these interesting comets like 3I Atlas have all been showing up lately? We've had a couple fly into the sun the last week or two. We've had a ton of UFO, UAP, whatever you want to call them, crazy orbs, lights, weird Earth events, and they're getting filmed everywhere. We've had a bunch of fireball sightings that, according to NASA's, the most we've ever seen since we started recording them. And weird human events too. We've been running this software, okay, this software operating system that's getting an update I mentioned. We've been running it for at least 2,000 years. That's the version we've been in. 2,000 years without updates. Seriously, without updates. Okay, to stick with this IT terminology, there definitely has been some patching, but not by us humans. Okay, more on that later. And now we're shifting. The sky over the next 3 weeks is the download progress bar. The old OS is ending, something new is installing, and you get a choice in how you run it. Before I continue, you have to understand this is software. If you've seen The Matrix, you get it. Three-dimensional reality looks real. Somebody punching you in the face looks real, or feels real. Somebody threatening the people you love feels real. But that's the software. It's supposed to feel that way. It's in the code. And during this 2,000-year build, the ones in charge, the ones in power, have had a prime directive. Maintain that power, absolute, throughout all this time. Now, part of maintaining that power meant not letting each and every one of you and me know the true potential you have as a human. Where you come from, why you have that potential, you've been kept in the dark about it. Kept to a level of basic operating capabilities with no idea you had anymore. Okay? It's time to put an end to the lines of code that said you are not allowed to know who you are. Okay? 12 zodiac signs, 12 cosmic months. Governed by the movement of the sun through them, Pisces being the last, the ocean, the dream, endings, 12th house territory in astrology. Aries is the first, the spark, the warrior, beginnings, the I am, the I exist, the I want, the I initiate. We're standing exactly at midnight on this cosmic New Year's Eve. Outer planets have been swimming in Pisces for 23 years. I mentioned that earlier. That era of screens, scrolling, blurred truth, collective dreaming. Let's just tolerate everybody. Everybody just has a right to be and exist, and we shouldn't get in the way of that. That time is done. That time has ended. Not because we chose it, but because the timing says so. The timing had to happen. We don't know exactly why, but like all times, we go in waves, cycles, spirals of expansion, spirals of contraction. The time of tolerance to the point of suicidal empathy is done. Tomorrow, we're already feeling this. But tomorrow, with the new moon, it's a stellium. It's not just a new moon like we have every year, the first time after the spring equinox. There are 7 celestial bodies of importance sitting in Aries for one night, one day. A stellium is what you call this, more than 3 planets. This is a cosmic traffic jam, all in Aries at once. Okay, what are they? Well, we got the sun, who you are, your identity, your ego, your authority. The moon, what you feel, how you adapt to your environment, how you see your reflection in others. Mercury, how you think, your intellect, the mind, how you communicate. Saturn, what you build, what you're serious about, what you structure, and what you're attached to. Neptune, the other side, the other world, what you dream, what you're deluded about, what you hallucinate or you discern correctly through intuition. Okay, Mars, the ruler of the house, the important one. He just walked into his house a week or two ago. All right, Daddy's home. And then we got, Mars is the general, whether he's in his own house or not. He makes decisions without emotions. And he's here to do it, let me tell you. And then we have Chiron. Chiron's about where you've been hurt. The wounds, usually from childhood. Okay, they're the scars that never leave. Some of you cover them up. Some of you display them proudly. Some of you show them off like they make you a better person. Okay, gets a little egotistical. All right, that's involved. And then Venus, by the way, isn't in Aries. She's in Taurus, in her own sign. All right, a nice grounded energy added to this new moon. All right, the actual chart of the exact moment we have the new moon, where I sit in Grants Pass, Oregon, it's a Pisces rising chart. All right, the ascendant is within 5 degrees of Rahu, the north node, still in Pisces, which means there's something here about a huge identity shift that is destined, karmic, fated. The ruler of Pisces, Jupiter, That's still exalted in Cancer, which is the fifth house of this chart. The fifth house is our next harmonic of Dharma, our truth, who we are based on the intelligence and knowledge we've acquired. So we self-express with that. We create, we have fun. We should be romantic about it. Okay, now imagine 7 different parts of your life hitting the reset button on the same day. That's tomorrow, or today, or whenever you're watching this. Are you going to feel this? Okay, some of you definitely will. I mean, where is Aries in your chart? What house is it for you? Is it your rising sign? And is there a whole change to your persona coming? How you show up physically? Or is it your 10th house of career, profession, your public calling? I mean, every planet in your chart natally rules a house. You're running dashas right now, according to Vedic astrology. Subcycles, subdashas too. Are any of these Aries planets activated in your cycles? Are they afflicted? What are their dignities? All right. Or are they gifts of strength? I mean, all of that plays into what kind of new beginning this is and what area of life it's originating from. Now, within days of the new moon tomorrow, Mars is going to catch up. Mars is going to catch up to Saturn. By the end of this weekend, we got a Mars-Saturn conjunction. Now, this is a once every 2 years event, all right? Not always in Aries, obviously, but think of Mars as the gas pedal. Think of Saturn as the brakes. When they meet, you don't floor it, okay? You have to learn how to drive stick, all right? A lot of people want to hit the gas while the brakes are held, and it does not go well. Historically, like when you look at Mars-Saturn conjunctions, they're not pretty. They can be violent, aggressive, fiery, reality hitting in a violent way. That's just how it is, okay? But there's also strategic discipline coming out of a Mars-Saturn conjunction. Putting a rocket engine into a ship built to hold it is one piece. The fire needs a container in that case, or it burns the whole thing down. You don't want 7 planets of Aries fire with no Saturn around. Okay, you'd incinerate everything in sight. So Saturn's job as a part of this whole stellium is, okay, you want to start something right now on this new moon? Cool. But just build something that lasts. Okay? So watch this with the current global geopolitical brouhaha going on in the world right now. The ones that think that they are in lasting power, yeah, watch how they play out. All right, now, Chiron, that we just mentioned, is sitting on the reset button here. Chiron's the wounded healer, the part of the sky that represents the wounds you carry that become the gifts you give. And right now, it's sitting exactly on top of this sun-moon conjunction, this new moon. I'll tell you what I'm doing with mine. I mean, what I've learned coming into this new beginning is how much I give of myself freely to everyone in my life, and to what degree that burns me in the end. All right, this new beginning is me not giving any more energy to that reality. Aries is taking your own power back. I mean, that's what I'm doing for me. The last year or so, the way everything has played out, I had one idea of how I was going to be coming into this year. I had that idea for a few years, and that idea has been completely crumpled up, burned at the stake, and thrown out the fucking window. To my surprise, and through all the surprise, anger, grief, sadness, I had to rise out of those ashes. And I can tell you, there's a lot of ashes. A lot has been burned down. A year ago, I was in a completely different situation. And here I am, starting a whole new path I did not think I'd be on for the last 5 years. Huge new beginnings for me. Sag rising. That puts all of these planets for this new moon in my 5th house. That second harmonic of Dharma. You know, when I say that, there are Dharma houses, Artha houses, Kama houses, and Moksha houses. All right. The first house is a Dharma house, which is about your truth and purpose. The second is an Artha house, which are your resources. The third house is a Kama house, or desire. And then the 4th house would be a Moksha house, completions and endings. And then you just rinse and repeat. All right. 5th house, Dharma house. 6th house, Artha house, and so on. This new moon with Chiron is in my 5th house. And my wounds have been my wounds have been through relationships. I'm 52. I had Chiron in Aries when I was born. giving my all in relationships completely and then having it ripped apart in fantastic ways. This new moon for me is about owning that, coming out, not hiding what the wounds are and how they could potentially help others through what I do, and accepting responsibility for my part in all that. Wherever yours is, the sky is asking you the same kind of question. What are you afraid to own or learn from your past to move forward in a new evolved way? All right, next, we have Uranus. A few days later, going into Gemini, okay? An 8-year weather shift. Okay, we got a sneak preview last summer into fall, okay? In about 8 days, the sky doubles down. Uranus is the planet of revolution, lightning, invention, sudden shifts, disruption. And disruption isn't necessarily violent, it's just disruptive. You know, like the iPhone coming out. Disruption to markets, to economies. Uranus moving into Gemini, which is a mercurial air sign, the natural third house of the zodiac, a desire house, initial desires, curiosities, interests, communication, information, neighbors, siblings, all third house affairs. What we're interested in, what we investigate, what we research, analyze, and choose. That's Uranus for the next 8 years. Guess what? It takes 84 years for Uranus to go around the sun. So last time Uranus was in Gemini was 1941 to 1949. Think about how life was, or, you know, if you weren't there, how it might have been in 1941. Okay, there was radio in pretty much every home for the first time, electricity everywhere, and the world at war. This time, I mean, we got the internet now in every home. We got self-driving cars, and it's about to probably get a lot weirder. This time we've got AI. And AI is about to feel like a toddler who just learned to run. And if you're a parent, you know what that means. All right. We're all watching it. We're all using it. We're all in a work economy, a field, an industry that's all on one level being threatened in one form or another by AI. So when Uranus goes into Gemini, the pace accelerates big time. When it was in Taurus, right, where Uranus has been since 2018, that's a fixed earth sign. Doesn't like to change, doesn't like to move, likes to be comfortable, likes a lot of resources. It likes its own truth. And if you don't like your own, if somebody doesn't like your truth, you're going to cancel them. That changes. Gemini is not like that. The way we talk to each other is about to get rewired from the inside out. All right? 20 years in IT, I can tell you that I still work with technology and cybersecurity. A lot has changed just in the last few years around AI. How it's being rejected by certain industries. How it's replacing humans already and others. How it's being embraced through paranoia, through survival, through not wanting to be left out. Whatever it is, it's changing everything. And then the one big thing Uranus and Gemini is going to do, AI is going to uncover a lot of hidden things that we need uncovered. All right, AI was recently fed all the data on Stonehenge. Okay, satellite imagery, geological information, soil samples, all right, celestial data on astronomy, all the theories, all the research, all the archaeology thrown into AI. And guess what? AI found that it's not just a fucking calendar. It was engineered to use infrasound to alter human emotion. Well, what way? Good or bad? To what end? Okay? So you can alter human emotion however you'd like. And when those in power back then had that kind of capability, you wonder how they were using it. Okay? This was a minimum of 5,000 years ago. I mean, AI is dialing in Göbekli Tepe and the Giza Plateau as well right now. I mean, you have no idea what those sites have to reveal to humanity. If they knew that then, what else have we forgotten about ourselves? This is where the Mars and Aries energy gets under my collar. Are you kidding me? That the archaeological community for the last 150, 200 years has been so arrogant with their heads up their own asses, kissing each other's asses, believing civilization is linear and that we couldn't possibly be what we are today. I mean, Graham Hancock, since the 90s, if not before, when he wrote Fingerprints of the Gods, was mocked and shoved aside as a nutcase. And look at him now. Multi-million-dollar Netflix documentaries because he was right. It angers me that we've all had to sit here and watch not just archaeology, but healthcare, government, science on every level. Use science not as a method, but as scientism. Doing it for the sake of controlling narratives, proving their aims, their intentions, their political and religious beliefs and agendas. And the rest of us on this planet either agree or disagree. And depending on where you live, if you disagree, you get hunted down, maimed, killed, fired, shunned by family and society. And let's not forget about AI solving health issues. That's pretty much here. And those in power are not liking how it's exposing their century-long agendas and covering up that we have always had the solutions to our most horrible ailments. It fucking sucks. It should piss you off. You should be mad. You should be sitting here thinking you're doing your best with what you've been given, when I'm telling you, we've only been given 2 to 10% of the reality we live in. How it really works, where we're really from, what we're really about. I'm not the only one saying this. There's other astrologers, psychics, channelers, mediums, non-spiritual woo-woo people, okay? But all of them are poo-pooed by scientism. It makes me want to give the big middle finger to that entire industry for how they've limited this planet's evolution because of their own agendas. Don't get me started on like the AMA or what happened in the 1920s with the Carnegies and the Morgans and the Rothschilds and, you know, Creature from Jekyll Island type stuff. We could go on forever about what was locked in to keep us under control. Okay, so which brings us to what I'm calling this upcoming great bifurcation, a fork in the road. It's here. The speed up of this timeline is putting a choice in front of every single one of us. And the question is, are you prepared? I mean, honestly, most of us are not. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I am either. These are things I was hoping to have more dialed in by now, and I don't. I know I have gaps. And I'm not just talking about an underground bunker and food and water and backup power in case things break. I'm talking about a choice about how to see reality. We're at the point where we all have the data, all the information. We have just not been paying attention. We've not been putting it together completely. All right, so there's path A, the machine path, the path most of the planet thinks we're on. That humans aren't perfect in and of themselves, so we need technology, healthcare a certain way, food a certain way, school a certain way, that your country is great and others haven't figured it out yet, that the system is under threat and the only way through it is to fight and stop the enemy and rely heavily on AI because AI is here to save us. AI is here for us to hand our power over to, which we're all kind of doing already, whether we know it or not. On certain levels, that can be good. On a lot of other levels, it's for a dangerous future. Handing your power over to a machine, which definitely not a new thing for us to be doing, by the way. But handing over your imagination to a machine, your attention to a machine, that's letting someone else think for you, feel for you, and decide for you. I mean, for a lot of people, that can be sexy and alluring. I mean, show me how to make $1 million. Automate my business setup to make $1 million. There are seductive solutions everywhere. Neuralink, to me, is the cutoff point. That's the wake-up call. All right? Sure, people who are blind can see. People who are paraplegic can now do things with their mind just by looking at a computer screen. So there are some amazing things about this, but it is your wake-up call. You're giving a machine access to the biological mechanism that harnesses your consciousness into a three-dimensional meat body. That's transhumanism. Let's live forever. Let's let tech and AI augment your imperfect human capabilities. Let's make you better, faster, stronger. In your 70s and 80s, look like you're in your 30s. It's all possible. All right? I'm not saying it isn't, but right now it's under the old system. For a price, you get this. For a price, you get that. all determined by the secret and powerful Oz, the dark forces behind the curtain, signing the checks and writing the laws you abide by. Economies built around it for profit, which, isn't all bad. It's the old system. It's in the old system. And this is the end of that. It's not the means. Okay? In the old system, it was the end that matched the means. Okay? It's the destination in the old system. And trust me, it's not what, where, or how you are destined to mean. Path B is the remembrance path. The one I'm trying to stay on. The one I want my loved ones on. The one I would love the whole planet to be on. It's just not going to happen that way. I say remember because you don't have to learn this. You just have to remember. You have to hear it and go, yeah, that makes sense. That feels right. That's all it takes. That's remembrance. But unfortunately for the majority of us on the planet, there is so much bullshit in the way. So many layers of conditioning by society, parents, religion, science, all in the way of you being able to remember something without your brain's cognitive dissonance and confirmation bias and all these things that block us from being able to see through and see things that may seem right now completely unbelievable. All right? Divinity, fancy word, okay? It brings up religious feelings. But on a linguistic level, divinity just means the ability to push past perceived limits. Your body has built-in triggers. Your breath, your focus, and your emotion, all of which can heal cells and unlock capacities this body has had for 200,000 plus years. Right? Greg Braden, another one, he's done great work showing where science, history, archaeology are all transcending the boundaries of the old order and breaking those institutions down. Showing how real science, ancient texts, and ancient history all point to the same thing. The human body you inhabit is powerful beyond your wildest imagination. This new moon stellium isn't picking for you. It's handing you the moment where the choice becomes impossible to avoid. All right? Practice time is over, kiddies. Time to put your money where your mouth is. It's time. Now, if you don't buy into any of this astrology at all, and if you're watching this, you probably already do maybe, and I'm glad, but if you're stumbling onto this for the first time, save this video. Subscribe. Send it to everyone you know who might be hearing this for the first time, who's got the resistance that might come out when they hear some of this. All right? You're a product of a time and a society where astrology has been suppressed by science and religion for a long time. It sucks. If you've been raised in India, you would have had none of that problem. It would have been woven into your growth, your society, your life, for better or worse, but you'd at least have the notion that astrology isn't hogwash, the way mainstream Western culture tells you. I mean, it's making a comeback, but from a social media, younger generation angle, it's pretty surfacey still. It's not a lot of deep work yet. Not a lot of study. But if you don't buy into any of it still, just stay with me for like 60 seconds. There's a systems thinker named Dr. Nate Higgins. Okay, no astrology, pure ecology, economics, data. He's been studying and practicing and saying for 20 years that we're at the end of a stable period. The dream of endless growth is ending. A storm is coming. The work is now about inner foundation. Finding your people and taking real action. Different vocabulary, same door. Dreamer becoming the warrior. Pisces becoming Aries. Neptune grounded by Saturn. Okay, behind me. Now I've got some books over here. Neil Howe, The Fourth Turning. Generations, demographics, sociology. The Fourth Turning is here. It's been here before, but not like this time. If you haven't read it, go read it. Peter Zeihan, global strategist. He's been saying the global world order peaked in 2019, and I'd agree. What you're watching now is a disassembling, not planned, not structured, of the global world order. Whether you see it as an economy or a deep state conspiracy, it's collapsing. Countries and regions are reading the writing on the wall right now, shifting into these super regional strategies, preserving resources for the future. And then I got like Ray Kurzweil. The singularity is near. The age of spiritual machines. Predicted long ago that AI would merge with humans. You know, the singularity. We're not too far off, quite frankly. And that's the transhumanist climax. Astrologers and system thinkers are describing the same fucking thing. The same threshold from opposite sides of the mountain. We are all talking about the same thing, people. It's just that when you listen only to the systems thinkers, you're missing the spirit behind it. You're missing 90% of it. The consciousness behind it, the magic, the realness. And it's funny. There will be a day when the realness of what the ancients knew becomes undeniable for the other 90% of this planet. The information will be placed in front of them and they'll have to make a choice. And that day is coming sooner than we all think. All right. Video games are built on code and polygons. Our universe. Yeah. The same guy. Well, there's a new guy that I haven't mentioned yet. Robert Edward Grant. Look him up. Polymath, musician, mathematician, physicist. You'd think pure science this guy is? Nope. Okay. He's done the science to the point of synergizing and synthesizing what he knows into this next level of math, science, and music discoveries that he's putting out there for mathematicians, physicists to argue the point, and they can't. And this whole time that he's doing this, he's going and hanging out at the pyramids. He's hanging out with, I forget this guy's name. It's not coming to me right now. But this guy he hangs out with a lot literally remembers all of his past lives, even back to the Atlantean days. And Robert Edward Grant is hanging out with this guy, and they are bringing some serious type energy and awareness of these energies to the planet. Okay, so here's what Robert Edward Grant is showing us. If video games are built on code and polygons, which they are, our universe is built on right triangles in 2D, funny enough. And every element in your body matches the exact frequency of a spiral galaxy that we think is up above. The geometric frequency of galaxies out there matches the element of iron for the Milky Way galaxy. Okay? You're not living in the universe. You are one. Within you are many galaxies, trillions of miniature galaxies walking around wondering what to have for lunch. Should I have McDonald's? Should I have In-N-Out? Or should I grab something from my garden? That's what's going on in all these universes, inside you and out there. The reason this threshold matters is because you matter. The update isn't happening to you, it's happening through you. Uranus and Gemini energy is fast, okay? Your nervous system, if it's not already overloaded by now this year, it will be. And without tools, you're going to make decisions from panic and regret them in October. Okay, so I'm giving 3 practical moves right now. 1, drop the clutch. Gen Z, if you haven't learned how to drive stick, oh my God. When you feel the surge, panic, rush, overload of life, push the clutch in. Take a minute. Breathe. Notice where it lives in your body. Probably your head, probably your chest, could be lower. These are energy centers, chakras. Sound woo-woo. Go look them up. They've been talked about longer than history itself. You know, I'm sorry if the 20th, 21st century got it wrong, but push the clutch in. Push the energy down to your feet, figuratively. 30 seconds, that's it. Just pause. 2, the 48-hour rule. Don't make any big emotional decisions on a whim. Money, relationships, quitting things. Write it down. Ponder it. Wait a couple of days. If it's still the move, it's the move. 3, find your people. Probably the most important of the 3. You can't do this alone. That's why we're here. If we want to get deep for a second, metaphysically, we are not here just to show up and prove ourselves to ourselves. God, the universe, all that is, was created out of all that is. It was unified, and it wanted to know what it was like to interact with another. So it created an illusion of separateness, a place to play in that illusion, to learn from. And how do you mostly learn from that? You interact with another. You cannot do what's coming alone. You are not supposed to. The ones who see what you see Start building that list this week. Get that community solidified. It's only going to help you in the months and years to come. All right. There's an ancient Japanese art called Kintsugi, and I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Robert Edward Grant talks a lot about it. A lot of people are talking about it right now because it's useful for this time. You know, the world looks chaotic because the old stuff is breaking for good reason. I'm personally trying to throw out as many old things as I can right now. All right, up here and out there. This old stuff needs to break, but the breaking isn't the end of the story. And the kintsugi is the art of taking broken pottery and gluing it back together with gold. The cracks aren't flaws. They're where the light gets in. They're where the value goes up. Same with your life. Same with the world right now. Shit's gonna break. You need to be the kintsugi facilitator. We all need to be this. We need to figure out how to put the pieces back together so the cracks aren't flaws. They're where the light gets in. As I close this out, I'm doing all three of these moves right now in real time. I'm doing the day job to get my financial house in order to prepare for this. I thought I was doing that before, but now I'm doing it differently. That's Saturn. That's Neptune. It's me finally seeing through the fog. I'm building my advisory practice, building my channels, writing my analog newsletter, the resonance papers. That's me finding and creating and serving for my people. And making this video, telling you all this, it's me being who I actually am and sharing it, being vulnerable, so I can find others who feel the same way. Because as we move forward here, there's only so much we're going to be able to do by ourselves. We're going to have to do this together. And it's going to get interesting. If you haven't been feeling the intensity since January, February, March, and I find that really fucking hard to believe, you need to try to feel it. You need to feel into this. Figure out where it's hitting your life. What big decision do you need to make? What do you need to embrace to move forward? Because what's coming down the pike is going to be unlike anything any of us have experienced, including me, including everybody famous on YouTube who thinks they've got it all figured out. It's going to be new for all of us. History on a whole nother level. Whatever you believe about the stars, something's changing. You don't have to listen to the astrology piece, albeit it's pretty damn ignorant if you don't at this point. Okay, this is me with Mars and Aries. I'm going to say it. If you don't embrace the mother and father of all sciences at this stage of the game, you're in ignorance. I don't know how else to say it. If you live in a world where you will blindly believe quantum physics laws, having no grasp of the science itself or the ability to prove it to yourself, just because men and women in their white coats with their crazy hair say so, while the same quantum laws basically prove quantum entanglement with the celestial bodies in the apparent macrocosms of space, why are you still being so difficult? Seriously. If you are still being difficult about any of this stuff in this video, let me be the one to lovingly say, it's time to get over yourself. What have you been waiting to begin? Sit with that question between now and the new moon. One question. No answer required yet. Okay? Not yet. Now, if this resonated, please subscribe. I'm going to be unpacking all sorts of things this year as the year unfolds. The resonance papers, my written companion to this work, the link's going to be in the description. Comes every month, delivered to your physical mailbox. And if you want help navigating this threshold personally, reading your chart, working through what's waking up in you, that's what I do. Okay? Booking link in the description. Don't sleep on this one. I'll see you on the other side of the threshold.